Hey everyone, it's the Angry Honey Badger here. It is time for us to take a look at another set of patch notes. It is patch 4.4, and with me, of course, we have Ka, also known as bonus content. How you doing, Kyle?
Good. How are you doing?
Pretty good myself. What we do, obviously, in patch notes, if you missed the first episode of patch notes, because that happens, what we do is we talk about the patch notes in depth. We cover everything. We let you know what is important, what isn't important, what huge nerfs and buffs happened, all that fun stuff. So we're going to go ahead and do that today. It's a pretty relaxed show. It's often slightly lengthy. So prepare yourself, grab a beverage, get some cookies, pause this video, do something like that now, and we'll go ahead and jump right on into the patch notes now. Typically, I don't look over these much before we do this video. That way we can get honest reactions. So I glanced at a couple things, but that's really it. Here are some things that will be happening. Reworks, champions, minor bug fixes. We don't cover quite everything. Like, we're going to ignore the crystal scar and the twisted tree line because those don't matter. And I'm calling it.
It's the truth.
But we'll get into reworks, which is going to be starting off with, of course, Kassadin. Um, this has been kind of a long time coming, sort of a thing. So let's go ahead and talk about his first few things. Let's see what we can get you to see. Let's go ahead and talk about his particle update, which is cool. His attack range has actually been increased a little bit, so he's got a little bit longer standard attack range. Caston now additionally ignores unit collision with his passive, which is his Void Stone, and he no longer gets the bonus attack speed per magic damage reduced, but no longer grants attack speed. All right, slightly different. So basically, he ignores unit collision, so he's Fizz, right? Doesn't
And he
Fizz have
also
that?
has the 15% magic reduction, or like magic damage reduction still on his passive.
Okay.
So now he's Fizz.
Yeah, he's okay. So yeah, he's Fizz. Okay. Okay. Then there's his Q is his Null Sphere. Anyways, new utility is it now additionally grants Caston a shield for 0.15 seconds. That absorbs damage and it scales off of ability power. And yeah, fun stuff there. Um, it no longer silences. Instead, it interrupts channeling spells. So if you're Fiddlesticks and you're channeling your ultimate, it'll cancel it, right? Is that pretty much
Yep.
what we're saying? But it's not silence. And then the damage on that has been changed a little bit. It's not as big numbers late, but instead now, actually that's the same number, so never mind. It just
It's
doesn't
just
scale as hard.
yeah. Yep. Just
Maybe.
20 less damage.
And then we have his Nether Blade, which is of course his W. And what happens here is Caston's basic attack draws energy from the void, dealing damage. This charges another blade. Is this even getting changed really? Or is
Um.
this all changed? I'm trying to.
Yeah, I think it's all
Casting
changed.
charges his blade, next causing attack, deal damage, scales from ability power, bonus damage, restores health, blah blah blah. Or missing mana, yeah. Increases. Da 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 da. Okay.
Mm,
Cooldown 6 seconds, no mana cost, resets Caston's basic attack timer on activation. Okay, that's his Nether Blade. It's slightly different, but
yep.
similar. Then we have his Force Pulse, which is going to not scale as hardcore as it used to. So the damage on that is coming down. That's about the only thing really changing there.
Still has the slow though.
Still has the slow because he's going to need something. So that's
Yep.
still there. Now here's where pretty much most of the changes really come in, which has kind of been his problem, is his Rift Walk. What's happening on this is the damage is changing completely pretty much. The damage base is staying the same, but instead of scaling from 0.8 ability power, it's going to scale from 2% of your maximum mana. So what we're seeing is we're kind of seeing a shift on his damage on his Rift Walk, turning into kind of a rise. You need to build mana to have it deal damage, which is not really that uncommon for Kassadin. So this really shouldn't be too weird at first. So stacking damage on that is changed a little bit. It's a little bit lower earlier. Instead of scaling from 0.1 ability power, it scales from 1% max mana per stack. Riftwalk stacks, instead of costing 100 per stack, now doubles its mana cost per stack. So that's just going to keep doubling. And then on the next part of that, the refund mana on hitting an enemy, it no longer refunds mana on hitting an enemy anymore. And the cooldown on it is a little bit shorter late game, but it's the same early. Mana cost is down a little bit because it's going to start stacking double the cost from the mana. And then maximum stacks is only 4 now instead of 10, and its stack duration is 12 seconds instead of 8. Now this is a lot to swallow. um,
That's
but
bonanzas.
it is bonanza. I don't know if there's a really good way actually from here to go on and explain how this is all going to work. You can try it quick if you want.
Um. Well, obviously his combo is gonna change a little bit. You're gonna obviously Rift Walk in and then Null Sphere just to get your shield And I'll be interested to see if people start building him kind of like Rise, like if they get like a Frozen Heart slash um like a Banshee's Veil or something like that. I don't
Well,
know. I don't
Banshees
think
doesn't have
Banshee's
mana
Veil.
in anymore.
Yeah, no, not
So
Banshee's.
Frozen would be your option, really.
Yeah, yeah. Like if they're gonna start building him a little bit more defensively, since it scales with mana, and they'll rely on like their alt damage, or if they're just gonna still build ability power and rely on like Q and E to do most of the damage.
There's like two paths you could kind of take.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's gonna kind of. I think we were talking about this earlier. I think he's gonna walk a fine line, and he's either gonna be drastically underpowered or drastically overpowered, and he's gonna like flip flop back and forth, kind of like Rise does.
I could see that, and it will be interesting. Obviously, I haven't played it yet because we're doing this video right before the patch comes out, like right before, and so I'm interested to see how it'll work. No promises on him not being banned, but if he falls off, it seems weak. I doubt it'll be weak. I still think one of the main things about his kit that's kind of so amazing is, in fact, his Rift Walk. Just that mobility is really
And
good.
they actually lowered the cooldown on it. So like if you think about that, if it's the same distance that he can rift walk, every 3 seconds instead of five is that's like that's just ridiculous. That's half of Ezreal's
Yeah,
E. It's just
it's
I
all the
don't
time.
I don't like that at all. That's the main problem with Kassadin, I feel, was his mobility because you couldn't gank him post
That's
six,
that's true.
and
That is a problem.
that's still a problem. So I think he'll still be strong, but I don't think he'll just like blow people up just by riff rocking on him, like take people from full to half with just his R.
Yeah, hopefully that's what. I don't know. That's gonna be weird. Hmm. Yeah, we'll see how this transitions. I really don't want to say too much about it because I'm not exactly sure what it's going to do. And I would love to say I know tons about Kastin. I mean, I do, but we haven't seen him getting played. So, like, I can't say I play against Kastin all the time. I mean, we see what he can do in the LCS. We've seen what he's been talked about doing. But, I mean, lately, we'll see if we see Kastin again. That's really all I'm going to say about it. And we'll leave it there.
Yep.
Hopefully he's in a good spot. Um,
His new particle's really cool though.
his new particles are cool. If you haven't seen those, Google search or just join a game.
Yep.
Anyways, to champions, we have Annie, the Dark Child. Anyways, we're going to move to her Q ability, which is going to be Touch. It reduces cooldown by half on all kills, champion or minion, which is its new utility, which is slightly different than the last one. It would,
Be no cost if you killed it.
if you killed a minion or a champion, yeah, no
Correct.
cost on it. Base damage. I was trying to think if it did anything else. It didn't. Base
Oh,
damage
does
on.
it
Hmm?
is that still gonna be so wait,
I don't know if
did,
that's on it anymore.
it doesn't say like normally if it'll cross it out if it's
Yeah.
not. It
So it
might
must.
still have that. So that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. That's what I was trying to think. Are they getting rid of that and keeping this? So I think you'll have both, hopefully. Now, as for the base damage, it is going to be decreased even early and even late. So it's going to be less, but it has a better scaling ability power ratio. Um, this is their attempts, I think, to make it still work for her to be mid, but still work for her to be support. Because typically, if you're support, you won't have that damage, so you won't scale as hard.
Yeah, you won't just blow people up at 6
Yeah.
anymore. Well, I
So
guess yeah.
yeah, it's just
So
a little bit different. And then Disintegrate is also kind of seeing a similar thing happen to it. What's happening with that is base damage on it is being reduced at all ranks across the board, but its ability power ratio is increased as well. And then Summon Tibbers, its base damage is also coming down across the board, but its ability power ratio is being increased. So what this means is you're either going to see, well, this could mean three things probably. Annie won't deal as much damage as a support early, unless she builds tons of damage, meaning mid Annie probably is more viable again. Come mid to late game,
um
maybe a little
yeah,
bit.
I think obviously you're on the right path. I feel that like support Annie, like straight support. Like not very many people did that, but you still see people get like ancient coin and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think this will make it so you can't build like just like a rush a gold generating item
yeah,
if you want to be viable like as like a viable damage outsource or like output in bottom lane.
yeah. I think they're just really trying to address the fact
Scale
that
it back.
Annie does damage in the bot lane as a support, and we can't have her do that much damage because it's like taking just like I don't know, like who would be way too much damage of a support? Like we've seen little LeBlanc supports and Kraga supports, and that there's some damage that comes along with that. It's not typically used as a support, so I don't think they're worried about kind of changing that. But at
Th-
heart, Annie really
They don't have
was a
they
mid
don't
for a
have the
long time.
AO. Yeah, they don't have the AOE CC though. The like
Yeah,
The big thing about Annie is she could get you in like a double incinerate
yeah.
stun, and
Double
that's just
Tibbers
huge. Yeah,
stun.
double Tibber stun, and that would just be huge because she could get her whole combo off, and most of the time the AD carry could get whatever damage they have off, and then normally someone would be dead. So
Yeah. So Annie's, I don't think this really ruins her in any way. This is just, it makes sense, really.
quality
So
of life change, I feel.
yeah, quality of life change. So Annie's, I think Annie's fine. Next, it looks like we have Diana. Scrolling slowly. Holy cow. Okay, so Diana. Lichbane changes affects Diana pretty hard. We're tweaking her numbers. Alright, so what they're doing to do this is her passive Moonblade ability power ratio now scales better. It's 0.8 instead of 0.6. We'll get to the Lichbane in a second, and we'll talk about a few champions that typically will use it. So we'll get to that in a second. So just for now, Diana is having a increase on her passive. Should help her out. Secretly OP.
Yeah, like you said, secretly OP. She just it's so hard for her to farm in lane because she's melee and she doesn't have that like huge
Presence early.
advantage when she hits six, kind of like a Kassadin or a Gragas does.
Mhm.
So that's what her weaknesses are, and I don't feel that this really changes that at all. So she's still going to be pretty weak early, but then she's going to be even stronger when she hits six because you're not going to have Lich Bane when you hit six anyway. So
True, true. But, we'll see how that affects the rest of her. Moving on to Elise.
holy cow!
And yeah, Elise is getting some changes. Um, Better late than never. She is the second highest ban champion in the LCS, behind Kassadin, who got a rework. So she's not getting her rework, but what's happening is her Q ability, which is her neurotoxin, or her venomous bite, depending on what you're doing with it at the time. Her neurotoxin is in fact going to have a damage reduction as it is later on. It's also going to deal less damage to the minions and monsters that it causes damage to. Venomous Bite is also getting its damage taken down at later ranks, and the maximum health on that as well for that is coming down at later ranks a lot. But that's minion and monsters. Her Cocoon, now stun duration, is going to scale based on the points you put into it. Instead of 1.5 seconds at all ranks, it's actually going to scale up to 2, but it'll be way shorter early, probably causing her early gank to be less effective. But that change makes a lot of sense actually to me. I
Mhm.
like scaling, so you are rewarded for putting points into an ability instead of getting a flat rate all the time, because you put 1 point into it early and you just say, I don't care about it. So I like the change. And then Repel, the cooldown actually is going to get better. It's going to be lower at later ranks. So that's actually a buff. And the rest of it's about the same. So that's actually a buff on her E. Spider Form now has a few changes. Spiderling health is going to be a little bit lower early, but barely. And it's going to actually be higher. I believe they took these down at one point, didn't they?
Mhm.
So they're actually just taking it back up. And the Spiderling health real values, they there it is broken down for you. So they're basically bringing that back up. So basically, they're trying to kind of what I feel is they're murdering her damage naturally because usually Elise's build fairly beefy, and she had too much damage for her beefiness, and
Yeah.
they don't want to reward straight tank damage. It
Mhm.
makes sense because she could carry with pretty much no damage items. She'd have a Leandries and murder people.
Yeah, this is going to also bring down the famous like venomous bite smite combo that you see at Baron and Dragon a lot. It'll make it a lot easier for a steal attempt because
Attempt.
before, yeah, because before you could just like venomous bite from like what is it 2,000 health and then smite it. It was almost impossible to steal.
She had a double smite, kind of like a
Yeah,
Nuno.
yep, a double smite. So this will take that down quite a bit, and it'll give opportunities to outplay, I guess. But then she's also going to struggle, I think, later, and like not struggle, but she won't clear as fast in the jungle, but she won't take any damage because of her spiraling health.
I
So
started playing her a little bit more recently, because everybody plays her. So I was like, all right, I'll get my Elise a little bit better.
it's
Um,
good.
but I did notice she clears so fast with her Spiderlings. And they do have
Yep.
more health now, so maybe that'll help them in the jungle a little bit. So there's a little bit of a trade there, but I do agree. Yeah, it'll slow her down a tiny bit, but I don't think it'll affect as much. She'll just have to standard attack one more time because then our Spiderlings all attack one more time. So we'll see. We'll see how it works. Yeah, I think this is another quality of life change. So
I still think that you're going to max E last, though. Um, I don't think that people will max or like even put 2 points just to get it back to
no,
the stun. I think that in 1 second, like a 1 second stun that you get with Cocoon, you can still do your maximum damage
yeah,
combo. And usually secure at kills. So if
Yeah,
you land a cocoon,
I do agree with that. I don't think it'll change the maxing. I think that's just a smart move change, really. So, um, yeah, I like these changes for her. Maybe they're trying to get her played less so they don't have to make another skin for her at the end of the season.
yeah,
Maybe that's it. Who knows?
victorious Elise 2,
Version 2, the extended
World
story.
Championship Elise.
All right, next we have Ezreal. And what is happening to him is we are going to see his Q, his Mystic Shot. The ability power ratio on it is going to be increased by zero point 0.2. And this is because of the Lich Bane changes for AP Ezreal, is what they're saying. This kind of helps Ezreal just in all aspects, really.
Yeah, because he
So
gets that 30 ability power from Trinity Force. So even when you build him AD, you're still gonna
get a tiny
get
bit
that.
from it. Yeah.
Yeah, get that just a little bit extra damage, and that's a huge kind of like a hidden buff to AD Ezreal.
Yeah.
Um,
And maybe it'll make
because
him more viable since he is kind of weak, kind of.
he, I don't know about that. I wouldn't go that far yet, but yeah,
Mm,
he could use it a little bit, or just take
it's a
the
it's a
ability
good
power
hit.
ratio off and
Yeah,
give him more AD.
yeah, that's true too. So if you play AP Ezreal, congratulations. But I don't know why you play AP Ezreal. But I mean, it's fun, but I don't think it's consistent. But this is definitely a good hidden buff for AD Ezreal. So it's a good change for people who don't even care about the Lich Bane change. So if you like Ezreal and you play him, guess what? You got a buff. Hooray! Small one, but you got it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Next, we do have Fizz, and they're going to be changing him a tiny bit because of the Lich Bane changes. The Seastone Trident is going to have a little bit better ability power ratio. It's going up to 0.25 instead of 0.15. Once again, this is them trying to fix the Lich Bane change, which begs the question: we haven't got to the Lich Bane yet. Why the hell did they change the Lich Bane if they have to do this to every champion? Like what?
I just don't feel like they wanted. Gosh, who was it? Like not Fizz, like Twisted Fate or someone like just like it kind of takes down the AP mid split pushing strat. And then it also because like you can just
You can destroy
crush
towers
any
with it.
turrets,
Yeah,
yeah, with it. So
Fizz can just or
I
Ziggs, sorry.
yeah, I feel like you could just fix that a little bit by just making it like Lich Bane not proc on turrets or something. But
It's not fair though because Sheen and everything else procs on turrets.
but I guess
Maybe
you can
half
get
damage or
well,
something.
yeah, something like that. You can get what 1,000 AP, and I think the max I've ever seen is like 400 AD. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
I just feel like they could have just done less damage to structures and fixed the problem.
It's true.
So
We'll have to see. Next though, we have Heimerdinger,
the donger,
the Donger. Donger's getting some changes. He's getting the visual update, which is really pretty, really. If you haven't seen it, I'm actually tempted to open this in a new tab because I will. Actually, here's what it looks like. He looks sweet. Look at him. He's all
all
donged
the
out.
skins are done too.
Look at these skins. They look all fancy and fun. Here, in fact, we can zoom.
Good.
Look at this is getting fancy. This show, um, looks sweet. Who doesn't like that? It looks awesome. So that's what that looks like. Anyways,
How can
back.
you not like the donger?
I don't know. People are interesting. Anyways, we'll do this. All right. Anyways, general Heimerdinger's update visual. Hooray! Base movement speed's also being increased just a tiny bit, so that's kind of cool. His evolution turret though is seeing a few changes this patch. What happens is new utility Heimerdinger now spawns with maximum ammo count. Kind of cool. Um, utility turret health now scales with ability power. So
It's pretty huge buff.
pretty huge buff, helping his turrets out. Turrets basic attacks now restore the beam charge by percentage based on the points you have in it. And the cooldown reduction modifies beam cooldown's gone away, but the cooldown reduction no longer modifies the beam cooldown. If that doesn't make sense to you, just read it slowly to yourself. Turret AI is less reliable at last hitting minions unless Heimer himself has ordered the turret by attacking the minion. So he's not just free farming as much, right?
Hmm. Yeah, you can't just put 3 turrets in the lane and then just leave,
Because you can kind of do
or
that.
just stand back basically, because
Basically, if
that's
you
what you can
standard
do
attack a
now.
minion, it's going to shoot after that minion typically and help you
Yep.
out. So
Yep.
um, these are actually pretty good changes. Um,
I feel like the spawns with maximum ammo count is pretty good because it's basically like a free little ward. Like even if you're not by them, so they're like auto attacking people, you can still see invasions in the jungle if you wanted to put your Q first.
that would be kind of interesting, actually,
So,
which I do take my Q first on him.
yep.
So that's kind of nifty. Little changes to Jaime, nothing changed, nothing crazy, but the donger shall live on. Next, We have the Kog'Maw. I believe it's kind of a sound he makes. Yeah, that one. His Q ability, which is his caustic.
Spittle.
I tried to spittle while I was spittling.
You.
Spittle fix. Anyways, new utility, targeted ability, no longer single line skill shot. Instead,
No,
it's
it
not.
is a single line
Oh,
skill
it
shot.
now is a skill shot.
Straight
Sorry,
line.
I switched it in my brain. It is a skill shot now instead of a targeted ability. I don't know why my brain changed that. Anyways, armor magic resistance shred on that is actually going to be instead of a flat amount, it's going to be it's just a higher flat amount.
Percentage. Well,
No,
so
I think
it's
that was
percentage.
percentage. Wasn't that percentage?
No, the first one was flat
Oh,
amount,
okay, it was flat amounts of armor.
and
Now
then
it's
it was
percentage based amount
percentage.
of armor. So this should actually shred tanks better.
Yeah, I like this change because obviously tanks are going to be out in front, and it's going to be really easy to hit one of those with your skill shot. And even at early ranks, like 20% is a lot
Yeah, it
when you're
is.
talking both armor and magic resistance, and Kog'Maw deals both.
That's
So
yeah.
I really like that
You
change.
might actually put
It's
a
really
point into
nice.
this at level 1 because the damage on it is actually higher now too. So you're not going to hit him for a little bit and shred a little bit. You're going to hit him for like a okay amount and shred for about the same early, kind of, but depending on the champion.
Yep,
But it
but
should be pretty good.
it'll
The
pair
ability,
really well with auto attack. So
yeah,
obviously,
the ability power ratio on that is being taken down. We'll see. I haven't looked at the rest of these changes. So we'll see what happens to AP Cogman in a second. Next, though, is there's Bio Arcane Barrage. No cost for mana, which is awesome, actually, because that's
it's
kind
just
of something he needs, I think.
yeah. I feel like it'll allow him to spam that in lane. It'll give him a little cushion
Yeah,
on auto attack range.
yeah.
So
Living Artillery. Fixed tooltip to reflect the base damage is amplified versus champions, whatever. Don't care. Anyways, just a good, I'd say, good update to the queue, really.
yep, I like the Q. Good job.
Since he's a champion that I think a lot of people would really say doesn't fit anywhere right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
It was just you have to be mobile, and he's like one of the slowest champions I feel
yeah, he
in the
doesn't
game.
he
So
doesn't have good escape really. If he screws up his slow, and he just I don't know, his ultimate doesn't really help you if you're building full attack damage. Like
and the slow isn't really that big of a deal because you just step one step to the side and you're off of it.
yeah, so it's yeah, he's in a weird spot. We might actually see a rework. This might be a temporary. Let's kind of balance him and make him a little bit better.
Kind of
So
like Kassadin last patch.
yeah, just a pre-tweak.
Yep.
Next we have the Nautilus, and what is happening with the Knot is he is actually getting a buff. Captain buff is what happens is a cooldown on the Titan's Wrath is going to be 18 seconds at all ranks, which is what the lowest one was at rank 5. So he's got that at all ranks now, and the bonus health ratio is at 15% now instead of 10. Meaning, I think we might start to see Nautilus again in the jungle. I think I
I
think
think
we
he
might
still
see him again.
struggles from the same problem though. Like
Clear.
well not clearing, and he's not very viable if you have like an aggressive counter jungler like a Lee Sin, or like a
I do agree.
Kha'Zix or Vi or Elise. So I feel like he's still going to struggle in that aspect, but like he's a really good CC bot,
Yeah.
and this buff to Titan's Wrath is going to make his early game a little bit easier to deal with.
Especially
So
ganking, because he's an early ganker who also isn't afraid to dive because of this, and the increased health ratio on it I think will help with that. Let alone the cooldown reduction now always being at 18 seconds can help him out, because if he needs it up under a tower, it'll be up. So um, I want to say this will help him. We might see him a little bit more. He was really big in season 3 for jungling. I think early and mid season he was
when they
popular.
had when
I'm trying to think
not
who was.
Locket, Aegis of the Legion was really
Yeah,
good.
when Aegis was really good, Nautilus was played a lot, and then he actually got a little bit of a nerf,
Hmm.
and then he
Was
kind of fell off.
this ability did too much damage? That's what it
This
was,
did, yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah. They had this doing a lot of damage, so maybe they're gonna make it more of a beefy utility instead of a damage dealer, and that'll bring him back. I hope it does, because I actually think seeing him's kind of fun. So I haven't seen him in a game in a
Astro
long
Nautilus
time.
is awesome.
It is also awesome. That is true. So hopefully this brings him back, but that's good for Nautilus. Really good, actually. We do have some changes coming to Sivir this patch. What's happening here is with Boomerang Blade, the damage lost per enemy hit is from 10% to 15%. Still minimum 40% damage. The W, the ricochet, is now mana cost going up because a little too spammable early through the lane pushing. I think is what their idea is behind that. So you can't quite spam it as much because you're going to be burning through its mana. And then your spell shield cost is, in fact, actually going to give a better mana restore. And that kind of helps fix.
Yeah, the W like the W. So they're
Yeah,
kind of just
it's a skill.
nerfing
It's a
one thing
skill
and
nerf.
buffing. Yeah. So
So
if you're good at hitting your E's and blocking stuff, then you're not gonna have a problem. W won't affect you. But if you miss those a lot, then you're gonna be struggling. So
yeah, it's going to basically tell you to fix. You can't play sloppy.
hmm
This
I,
prevents sloppy play.
I do also like the Q nerf because if you like got hit by a boomerang blade that was coming through one minion, it did like half your health.
Yeah.
And so now
Yeah.
that will scale back a little bit.
Tiny bit. Did they touch this not too long ago though? I want to say
The
they nerfed.
boomerang blade?
Yeah, I think they nerfed it a patch ago, or
I thought
maybe
it was
two
a
patches
few
ago.
patches ago. Yeah.
I feel like they nerfed it a tiny bit. This is another
Well,
just little
boomerang
tweak.
blade did like tons of damage when they first reworked Sivir, so
Yeah.
they
Hopefully
nerfed it.
helps it out.
Yeah, I think it will. It'll be good.
Oh hey, look who's next. Skarner. Well, we're still trying to fix our Skarner mistakes, that's right.
Can we just skip Skarner because he makes me sad because I love Skarner.
We'll cover it
Oh,
quick.
okay.
Missile width is getting up and missile speed is going up. We hope for the best, Skarner. Please
So
come
you
back to
might
us
be able
soon.
to slow more than one target, and it'll go faster.
Yeah.
But you're still not gonna. You're still gonna struggle from the same problems.
Yeah. We covered this in the last patch. If you didn't see it, go watch it. Next is Thresh. We got really in depth on Skarner last time.
Yeah.
Next is Thresh. What happening is the soul duration of it sitting around is going down.
By a
So
lot.
you have less time to get them, which I don't think is going to be a huge issue.
Most people collect the souls within like 3 or 4 seconds of them going down, but it just allows you, or it just takes it so when you kill someone or like AD carry kill someone way far away, you can't just like walk clear across the lane and pick it up. So I feel like
You'll lose out on a few, but
yeah, it'll slow down it a little bit, but Thresh is still going to be 100% viable.
yeah,
So
the thing that makes Thresh so good is the fact that he can do so many damn things and he's got so much awesome utility, and the combinations of doing these things works really, really well. It's not the fact that like, oh, he's picking up too many souls. Like, this will slow him down a little, but not.
yeah, not enough to make a difference.
Yeah, he's still super fun to play. God, he's fun to play. It's absurd how fun that champion actually is to play. Somebody was asking today on Reddit at one point, who's the funnest champion to play? And I was like, I would hate to say Thresh, but Thresh probably is the funnest champion to actually play
You
in the
just have
game.
so many big play potential,
And if
like
you
so much big play potential.
And I know
So
somebody's arguing right now, like, no, he's not the funnest. But like, no, seriously, if you like get him down, holy God, he's the funnest champion to play. He can do so much cool stuff.
mm, yep.
Next, we have Tristana. Rapid fire, her Q ability. New mana cost. It doesn't cost anything. Kind of cool. This is
It'll
a.
allow her to trade better
It will.
in the early game.
And that's her weakness, is her early game, really. Her. This is kind of like I'd say a mock change to what Kog'Maw got.
Yeah.
Like a
Yep.
no mana cost on something that you kind of need on the champion.
And now it's a pretty long cooldown still, obviously. It's the same thing. So you're gonna have to pick your places pretty well. But if you do get in those trades with like Caitlyn or something, you're gonna be able to get 3 or 4 off to her 2, and then she'll get that extra one when you walk away. So it'll be about even instead of just getting destroyed in lanes. So
Yeah, should help
be
out.
pretty good.
Next, though, we do have the Twisted Fate. And now Twisted Fate, because of the changes to the Lich Bane, his pick a card has a better ability power ratio, and his stacked deck has a better ability power ratio, both of them going up by 0.1. So, yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that pick a card didn't go up higher than that.
Yeah, I'm a little bit too, but I think they think he's actually in a good place and people just don't play him.
His ultimate just needs to be tweaked still. I don't know what needs to be done, but it just doesn't do what it used to, obviously, because it's on like a super long cooldown early.
And it doesn't go all the way across the map.
Yeah.
When they did that way back in the day.
Yeah.
Him and Panther, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But Shen still is.
This is okay.
Yeah.
Well, Shen's a targeted ability.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I'm surprised they didn't. I'm really honestly surprised when they did all those, they didn't do that to Shen and make it like half map, so he couldn't just jump bot lane or something crazy.
Well, I think if they were going to do that, then you have to make it like an AoE where he like come in on a spot and everybody in that spot would get the shield.
That's true.
Because like he can't teleport to just like random places. He has to teleport on a champion, and Pantheon and
Anything
Twisted Fate
they
can just
can.
go wherever they want.
That's true, I suppose. Interesting. Yeah, good
So
point. Good point.
that'd be a cool fix though.
That would be nifty. Come in on your whole team, bringing a shield.
Yeah. So
Massive drop. That'd be awesome. All right, next, it looks like we're getting some changes to Vi. What they think, and slightly true, is that she does a lot of damage early.
too much damage.
A little too much. I don't think it's crazy, but yeah, she does some damage. It can't be denied. So what's happening on this is, oh, not early actually. Wait, is it early?
Well, what it is they're just making it so
No, it's late game damage.
when you charge up your Q, it's not going to do as much. Oh
Minimum
yeah, late
damage.
game.
It's late game damage. She doesn't need as much because she has it. And
Yeah.
this is for the people who actually build some damage on her. You're really probably not going to feel any effect because what they've done is they've cut the base number down late, but the ratio is higher for it.
So if you
So
actually build like a Black Cleaver, Trinity Force, you're going to be doing even more damage, which is just dumb.
I think it'll be about the same actually. If
Yeah.
not, it might be a little bit less. You'd have to go full damage to really benefit.
I guess it's only 0.2, so
Yeah. So that's what they're doing on the Vault Breaker. And on Assault and Battery, there is a few changes there. Cooldown on it early actually is going up. They feel like it's too short right now. Knockback duration on secondary targets is going to be shorter, and the knockback distance is also going to be shorter. Just kind of a general nerf to it. I don't think it'll change things too much. It just be weary of the cooldown. Just got an extra 20 seconds on that first rank. So
yeah, most of the time, at least when I play Vi, when I hit 6, it's right before the second buff spawn. So like I gank a lane and then I go take both buffs and then I go to another lane because my ult's back up.
yeah,
And this will make that
not as
just
possible.
30 seconds longer or 20 seconds longer. So you're gonna have to do something else instead of just because ours like Vi's ultimate, in my opinion, is the best ganking tool in the
Oh
game.
God, yeah, it's absurd. Yeah,
So
she's really easy to gank with, and this is gonna help, I think, them with because by the time that happens again, you'll have a few points, so you have a little bit less of that damage on that Vault Breaker too, because that's another big ganking, key for Vi. It's just awesome on her. So I think these combos will probably bring her down a tiny bit early, but she should scale just as well late through the game, which has been a concern for them with their junglers. As we've seen with multiple champions, is that late game we're trying to fix it. Some champions are a little bit too strong. Some champions don't scale quite as well. This champion's in the middle. It scales fine late, but we're going to tweak the numbers. So if you're building the damage, you'll get it. If you're not building it, you'll just be your tanky yourself. So that's what they're thinking. So those are your changes to Vi, and those are your champion changes. Now, minor bug fixes. Not really going to touch on these, to be honest.
just a whole bunch of quality of life.
Yeah, just little things. Just Blade Waltz, Karthus, blah, 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 bug fix.
Yorick, ooh.
What I mean,
Yorick's getting something. But
Omen
nothing.
of War, bug fix on Yorick. Permanently ignore unit collision after casting Omen of War. Oh, that's kind of nifty, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, bug fixes. Now to items, where I know you guys are like, well, what about that Lich Bane for all 17 of you who've made it 34 minutes into this video? The Lich Bane. Historically, we've run into a lot of problems. All right, so what they're doing with it is it's damp. Good lord, I keep cycling. The damage on that, instead of deals 50 damage plus 0.75 ability power on its hit, it's going to deal 75% of base AD and then 0.5 ability power magic damage. Now, this is going to have multiple effects. What's going to happen is on those full AP champions like Twisted Fate and Diana, technically it is a little bit of a nerf, which is why they changed them and gave them better stats. But on some champions, I think this is a buff to the hybrids, specifically Akali.
And Akali, yeah.
Because Akali builds attack damage. She does. It's in there with her Rage Blade if she picks up one of those, and it's in there when you have to pick up the Gunblade. So she is picking up some damage. A little bit, I think. The ability power will still help bring it down.
Yeah, I think she'll actually lose.
I
I
don't think
think
she'll
it's gonna
lose out.
hurt. Isn't it gonna hurt Akali?
No, because instead of 50 base damage, 75% of your AD. What's 75% of her AD? Usually she has 100 and like 80 to 200.
I want to say she has like 150 if she buys Gunblade.
She goes Gunblade and Rageblade. If she does both of those,
Oh, okay.
she will have 200
200.
damage,
Yeah. So you're talking.
150.
Yeah.
So the damage is up from
100.
50
But
before.
but
But
you're
then you
talking.
lose
What's
0.25. You're losing on a 0.25 ability power. Her ability power usually is around, let's just, no,
400?
no, it's not usually that high. It's usually like
Really?
250 to 350, depending
Hmm.
on how late game you get.
Yeah.
I'm going middle game right now.
Okay. Yeah.
So
In the middle,
what's
she'll be about the same, I guess.
yeah. So I don't think this really affects her at all. Besides the point where it's like
I think it's a wash for her.
it is kind of a wash.
Because
I'm
you're going to
interested to
lose
see
out in
how
early
it.
game damage, but late game damage, I think you're going to be able to do. Or sorry, other way around. More early game damage, less late game damage.
Yeah. Now I don't know exactly, and I would hate to say this, but you don't skip Trinity Force on Jax. But if we see that AP Jax come out, this actually might not be terrible, or a hybrid, like an actually hybridy Jax. This
Like a Gunblade,
gun,
Rageblade,
Gunblade,
Lich
Rageblade,
Bane
because it's
combo.
so much attack speed and spell vamp lifesteal, like that could be the super vamp. So I don't know how that'll affect him either. But these are the changes that are happening to Lich Bane. That we did talk about with so many of those champions getting little tweaks. So I'm interested to see what it does to Akali. We actually talking about this today at the office. One of my other friends was convinced this is actually going to buffer. So, and he's knowledgeable. That's all I'll say.
He's knowledgeable.
Yes, I'd like.
He's diamond.
He's knowledgeable.
He called it. He's diamond.
um, yeah. So we'll see. Anyways, that's what's happening with Lich Bane. You have anything you want to say about Lich Bane? Like,
I think we covered it through the champion changes pretty well, I think, as well. So.
okay, okay, okay. Trinkets, warding totems, sweeping lenses, scrying
I
goals.
love this change. I love it.
What is happening is the starting cooldown for all trinkets is now 120 seconds. And the swap cooldown for it is 120 seconds.
For those people that can't do math, that's 2 minutes, and that's after your first buff spawns, so you won't be able to get those defensive wards
In
from your
jungles.
trinket. Yeah, from your trinket, you're gonna have to use like actual
Real
wards.
wards. Which may actually cause
So
actual invades.
yeah, because trinkets basically made invades non-existent, and I think this will make it like only time will tell, obviously, but you might see invades now like on a consistent basis in LCS because, or else
Because it's been boring.
yeah, you're either that or you're going to see starting at changes for the supports and have them place defensive wards. Because right now everybody just gets their trinket and places it,
Yep.
and everybody's good to go. And this will get rid of that.
Everybody waits that 90 seconds, and then everybody walks into the river, drops trinket ward, and then they all back up. You're like, good to know.
And I'll have to swap cooldown lowering because when you switch, like as a jungler, when you switch from your trinket to a sweeper, it's like forever.
It is a pain in the ass. I do completely agree.
So that's a good change, I feel, as well.
What have you been starting with on your junglers?
I
was doing
sweeping
pots. No, but I mean for your trinket.
Oh, I start warding totem for most of my junglers.
I was doing a little bit of sweeping lens, but totem's just so much better if you want to counter jungle and other things.
I take sweeping lens now on Pantheon just because I like to get that early ganking since his stun's so reliable early levels.
That's true. That does help him out. I need to play him again.
So good.
We have some changes to the Rigo's line of things. Now, I don't think...
Finally they did this.
But this isn't done. This is in preparation.
What? Oh, they don't have the upgrade thing?
Feral Flare is not yet in the game.
Oh, no.
They're talking about it. Now, if anybody knows or doesn't know, I'm going to talk about it. Wriggle's Lantern's getting a change. It's going to be built into a third item called the Feral Flare. I swear we talked about this, didn't we? Was that last patch? No, it's not in the game.
I think we just read about it.
I know I covered it at Curse in a video, so that's how I know about it. But Feral Flare, as it talks about, is an item. It's going to do some cool things. We'll get to it when it happens more. Right? We're currently working on items 4.5 evolution. Yeah, okay. So it'll be in the next patch. But until then, I want everybody to call it this because I call it this. It's the acorn. Wriggle's Lantern is in fact an acorn. Look at it. It looks like a damn little acorn and it's a terrible item now.
It's an acorn necklace.
It's
like
an acorn necklace. Yeah. I usually laugh at people who build it because I say they built the acorn because they're just carrying around this worthless piece of crap. You're not going to use it to fight. So the acorn's getting a change and it's going to be better once the Feral Flare comes out.
I think it's better now too.
It is better now. They tweaked it.
Just a little bit.
Little tiny bit. But Acorn's getting better. It's a good change. We'll talk about that in 4.5 when it happens. But we might actually have a 4th jungling item, because right now there's only 3. If you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got? Razor. This is why the changes are happening. Here's Razor, and Lantern's below. Actually, is Feral down there? No, okay, it's not. Okay, so the Lantern, what's happening on that is Cloth plus Hunter's Machete plus 100 gold. It's not that, it's Dagger plus Hunter's Machete plus 50 gold. Combined cost is actually a little bit more, but it's going to give you 15 attack speed, normal. But then it's not going to have the armor anymore. You're not going to have 20 armor, but instead you're going to have basic attacks deal 60 bonus damage, magic damage,
Yeah.
and restore 8 health on hit versus monsters instead of 5 health. These are all slight changes.
You might think about getting it on Lisa now, but I
Basic,
still don't like it.
yeah, it's not quite there yet, but these are in preparation changes. So you have the attack speed and you're getting more health back on hit. So you're better off there, but you don't have the armor. So it's one of those coin flip situations, you could call it. But once again, this is all in preparation for the Feral Flare. If we look at the Lantern changes, you have
Get
more
attack
attack speed.
damage.
You have more attack speed. You have attack damage now. Yes, as you just said, very astute. Um, that attack damage will be helpful. You don't have the armor, once again. But and they're actually changing the gold passive amount that you're going to get. It's going to go down a little bit.
I don't
Um,
understand that. Like
it's
the
in
items are not that great
preparation.
anyway.
It's in
Oh yeah,
preparation for
okay.
the feral because
Well
I
then why
believe it's more.
why don't they just like hold off on this until they actually come out with? Are they going to come out with it mid patch or something? Or
It's
like what?
next. It's next patch.
Well then why are they doing this now? I don't understand this change right now. I should think they should just leave it worthless
I'm just causing all
instead of.
types of problems right now on the on the program. Hold on. I want to see if they added it. Actually, no, it's not. Yeah, it's totally not there. Um, how unfortunate.
This is the tables have
It's
turned.
as if the tables had turned. Let me see if I can find it real quick. We'll talk about it for a second. Oh, the Pharaoh Flare. Okay, so let's see what we got. Anyways, the Pharaoh Flare is going to give you 35% attack speed, 15 attack damage, and then unique basic attacks deal 100 damage plus 3 per champion kill assist of a large monster as bonus magic damage, and it will restore 12 plus 1 champion kill slash or assist on large enemy kill. Enemy champions take 33% of the bonus magic damage. Unique act no. Oh, a unique, the 30% increase from gold and monsters, and then there's also a unique on it where another unique where you may only be in possession of 1 gold item, and then another unique active where you place a sight ward at target location for 180 seconds. So, except for I think, can you have 3? Was that another one they were gonna add? Maybe I was looking at something else. I might be drunk.
But you get 5 more. What is it? 5 more attack speed when it upgrades, and
Yeah,
then
35% with 15 attack
3 more
damage.
attack damage, and
Then this item scales basically.
yeah, and it scales, and it's for free
Yeah.
essentially. So maybe you might think about it when the Feral Flare comes out, but right now, don't get this item.
Don't buy Acorn yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Wait for the
Save
Feral
you.
Flare.
Calm down, squirrels.
Calm down. All right, so that's the Lantern. I mean the Acorn. Summoner spells. Teleport.
I actually think this is pretty big.
Teleporting to an allied turret changes the cooldown reduction of teleport by 100%. Or by 100 seconds, not 100%. Holy God. So basically, if you use it on a turret, it's got a shorter cooldown.
You like if you're in a really really bad situation lane and you take teleport, you should be able to last 200 seconds in lane without
Yeah.
dying.
Yeah.
And I think that you're going to see more and more, like maybe even Renekton run teleport since it's so easy. Because like you can just teleport to a bottom lane or a top lane. It's really good for split pushing. Obviously, you're not going to get that bonus like decrease if you teleport if a fight breaks out. But I really like this. I think it'll be used a lot more than it is now.
I think so too. I do like it. It's an interestingly good change.
Yeah. I think they need to start doing more of these summoner spell reworks because I think the summoner spells have been pretty bland for like the last 2 seasons. They really haven't done anything to them.
Flash Ignite.
Yeah, or else you just take that out of the game.
Yeah. Graphical updates. Particles, Ignite, Ghost, Heal, Barrier, Screenshots, Tabs, Sound Effects, fun stuff. Graphical updates. Do you have anything to say about the graphical updates?
No, I think I love it when they do particle and sound effect updates because it's just refreshing the game.
It is. It's
Even
pretty.
though sometimes the new pictures are bad.
Yeah, they're or confusing.
Like the acorn.
Like the acorn. Yeah, why? You know the sad part about acorn is it used to be such a really good item in season 2.
Yeah,
Like the greatest item.
yeah. Well, wasn't it the only jungling item?
People, you wouldn't even buy it in the jungle. You buy it top lane.
Yeah.
Armor, attack damage, 18% lifesteal, and a ward. And
Junglers
whenever you
used to
hit,
get
and you could last it easy with it because it had that extra do 300 damage randomly to a minion. You could last it super easily. You'd always have a ward on you. You'd have armor, attack damage, and lifesteal. Like if you go watch like I think old Riven build of mine, it's like yeah,
you
build
did it
build a
with your
lantern.
old Yi build. You just
It's
didn't you?
super broken.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
God. Which is
No,
why they changed it, but Lantern was so good.
they that's back when like you would run Heart of Gold and Moo in the jungle. Oh, I
Oh,
miss those days. I miss
Shen,
Heart of Gold. Bring it back.
Shen, you could run Heart of Gold. You start out with the Ruby Crystal, deal extra damage with your Q, and then you go by Heart of Gold immediately, and you would never die because of your shield and your Q damage because it scales from your health. It was
Yep.
amazing. God, I miss the old days. They
And
were
you get
awesome.
more gold, obviously.
On Twisted Tree Line, things are happening to some champions. That's cool. Same thing on the Crystal Scar. How fun.
They need a nerf Renekton's R
A little
in
bit.
game, like in actual. Uh, I don't see why they do these changes, like make the champions different
Per map.
per map because like I understand why they do it because it's a different game, but at the same time, like it almost makes me not want to play them even more because I don't want to play
Jump.
Renekton on Twisted Tree Line and then like get used to his damage on there and then go into a regular and not do as much damage or do more damage, you know?
Yeah, it's a weird place because if you want to try to like, oh, I want to play a casually game of Twisted Tree Line or Crystal Scar, and you're like, I want to learn somebody a little bit, but I don't want to play bots because that's super boring. But I just want to play and use their kit, and then you're like, oh, this works really well, and I like the way this feels, and then you jump in, and yeah, you're like, this isn't quite the same. What happened? It's
This
just
isn't
weird.
the same champion. Yep.
Although
I
the
get it.
items are kind of different in some of those too, so I can see why they do it, but I agree, it's
I want to start a
kind of
petition
weird.
right now that we bring Wooglets to
Oh my
Summer's
god, that would be absurd. I would love it.
Death Cap with Azanias.
What's the other cool thing?
Blackfire, which is
Entropy
cool.
on
Oh, the 70 isn't that the
the
75 attack damage
the phage
slow?
with the pickaxe, and it does true
Yeah.
damage when you activate it.
What?
Yeah,
I don't play that, so
entropy. Oh god, it's an awesome item. Anyways, I want that too. Bring it to the normal game.
yeah.
Jack's OP. Um, that is
Cool.
patch notes 4.4. Do you got anything? Closing remarks? Anything?
Uh, pretty toned down patch. I don't think they did a whole lot besides the three major champion changes. Um, I'm just glad that Lee Sin is. I get another patch with Lee Sin before they destroy him.
Yeah, that's true. As I've said, I hope that's just
Rumor.
April Fool's joke. Who knows?
It
He
has to be. There's no way because that champion would be completely useless.
they might be really rethinking it, so it might honestly be pushed back quite a ways. So
Well, community backlash was just huge. Like
it
you
was
had
enormous.
professional players talking about it, casual players just blowing up blogs and stuff. It was
Yeah, I
ridiculous.
agree. It is interesting. Anyways, that's patch. That's 4.4. Hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully you made it this long. You probably didn't. That's okay. But that's the patch. Check out content on bonus content. Check out
Yes.
shit on my channel. Do things.
Don't
Have
forget to
fun.
follow Curse.
Don't forget to follow. I think I'm wearing a Curse sweatshirt. I am wearing a Curse
I mean,
sweatshirt.
sub them on YouTube
You
because they
should
come out
sub
with
them
some
on
hilarious
YouTube because
videos.
I make videos there, and I also do news and other things that are league content. Actually, that's pretty much what I do over there is league stuff. So if you like league stuff, go over there. It's also fun. But other than that, me and Bonus will see you guys later. Have a good one.
Later.